Welcome to my channel, Tailored by Nature. Please subscribe and share this information if you find it to be of value. Before we begin, it's customary that we begin with a Bible verse. And today we're going to begin with Daniel's chapter 2, verse 43, which states, "And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with miry clay." In this verse, just to kind of extrapolate, just kind of give you an idea what it's really talking about, not what not what Google tells you what it's talking about. This verse is telling you that there's a genetically mixed human. So miry clay means someone who's actually mixed. That's what it means. Miry clay means someone who's mixed with an angel. And that person is trying to mix itself with a real human, which is the offspring of Adam. But it says that the two will not get along because iron and clay are not meant to get along. And a chemical term, and as far as what they represent biologically, they will not get along. One represent humans and one represent angel mix. So in stating that, this also explains why in the text, as far as the translated Bible is concerned, that the scriptures that they translated into what they call the Bible today, one of the reasons why it starts with the word Genesis is actually a clue, but a lot of people just kind of go by what someone tells them and say, oh, Genesis just means the beginning, and not go into detail as far as the beginning of who and the beginning of what. But when you examine the word Genesis, is actually the informal plural for genes, which is a unit of hereditary that is transferred from a parent to offspring, and the offspring carries some characteristic of that parent. So that's what the word Genesis really means. So when you look at Christianity and someone tells you it's about faith, it's about spirituality and all these things, no, it's about genetics. The whole thing, the Bible, everything is about genetics. The whole thing is about genetics. It's about angels coming here and mixing themselves with the daughters of man. That's what the whole thing is all about. So today, our topic of discussion is going to be in regards to Wesley Huff, and I guess he was on a recent PBD podcast. Him and his friend was talking about Billy Carson. I guess they had a debate a couple weeks ago, and I guess they were talking about Christianity and kind of dove into more detail about Christianity. And I guess Billy Carson, I guess he was sick or something. He wasn't up to par towards debating. And so I guess Mr. Huff saying, getting to the extent that I guess he won the debate or something like that. So I'm not really sure, but that's pretty much the gist of what I got from the conversation when he was on the PBD podcast. And I guess the title of it was, part of it was, he was there to defend Christianity. But when you really look at Christianity for what it is, I guess everyone got the right to defend whatever they believe in. So he was going by, I guess, what he was taught, and and hey, core for me, if you believe in something, of course, argue it. So that's what we're going to talk about today in regards to Christianity. And let me transition from here as far as Christianity is concerned. So one of the things, I guess, my argument against Christianity which a lot of people believe in it. Probably over 2 point something billion people actually believe in Christianity. And one of the things I looked at as far as Christianity is concerned is that I guess my argument against it would be human sacrifice, which is interesting because I guess that's one of the centerpiece of Christianity is human sacrifice, meaning that it's okay to torture someone, put them on a pole somewhere and torture that person. And I guess it's okay. If it's okay for him, it's okay for you as well. Because if you're okay with someone getting tortured and put on a cross or a tree and get hung, I guess if someone do it to you, you shouldn't be complaining about the situation. That's how I look at it. So that's one thing I see that is wrong with Christianity. And the second thing is, which is foundation of Christianity, is a God who came down and impregnated a female, and the female gave birth to a half spirit, half human entity, which they want us to worship, and so happen to be pale and white like the people who are pushing it. So there's conflict of interest right there for me. Unfortunately, based on what they're telling us, there are other records out there other than what we see in the Bible that actually provide, give us a glance into what really took place in the past. And one of those is the book of Enoch. And the book of Enoch speaks of angels coming to earth and mixing themselves with the daughters of men, which means they took wives of all who they chose and mated with them. And taking wives mean to have intercourse. That's what actually becoming a wife is to have intercourse. And that started in Genesis. So when we see in the garden, I think in Genesis 3 verse 6, where Eve was told, Adam and Eve was told not to eat of the tree, not to touch it, or not to eat of it. That was one of the first warnings that was sent out, that we as human beings not supposed to do. We're not supposed to commingle with or fornicate with angels. And when you read the verse in the English language, which, like I said, the English language is a veil. Purpose is to hide the truth. They give you half-truths. And one of the half-truths that they told in there is about touching and eating. When you think about fornication, touching and eating is a part of it. But they tell you that it's an apple. I never see the reason for someone to be, doing such thing as far as touching and eating an apple and getting, I guess it's a sin to eat an apple. It really doesn't make any sense. But when you think of it in a biological term, it actually makes sense in a biological term. Which means, in a biological term, if you're part of the military or you've ever been deployed, there are orders that military personnel get when they go to different countries, not to commingle with the local population. Kind of the same thing with angels. They was given directives not to mess with the local population, not to mess with the humans. And of course, one of the angels, he broke the protocol and commingled with Adam and Eve, which is why they were punished. Remember, when you read it, you see that all three of them were punished. All three participants was punished. Why were they punished? Because they did something they weren't supposed to do. And that's the commingling of unique species. One species from heaven, another species from earth. So initially, the angel, I guess, when you read it, it's Azazel, but his name is not a formal, it's not a proper noun. Azazel is Zah in the Hebrew, it means to cut off. So pretty much is telling you what took place. He mingled with Adam and Eve, initially with Eve, and got her pregnant. And by them mixing with the angel, their DNA will compromise, and which brought death into earth. So before, no one died. And by them mixing, commingling with the angel, that's what happened to them. They got cut off from within earth. So that was the punishment that they got, was death, because they commingled with the angel. One of the ways you could tell, based on studying, is that the word tree is written, is actually mirrored. But when you look at the word, remember in Aramaic, they read from right to left. So the word tree become ear. And when you look in the Hebrew lexicon, it's written as IYR, ear. And it means watcher angel. So that's how you know that the tree in the garden wasn't a tree. It was, they were telling them not to commingle with the angel. So that was a warning that was given to them. And based on that warning, they did not heed to the warning. So of course, death was the punishment that they actually got. So that's what we see when we look into as far as what took place in the garden, and regarding with Enoch, when angels came down, they all got together and they make a pact to actually do the same thing again, because after the issue with Adam and Eve and they mixed and they did all this stuff, they actually created giants within the earth, and those giants started to wreak havoc on mankind. And then the flood came in as a cleansing. And at one point, there was in the Genesis, it says all flesh was corrupt. So I told you that the word Genesis is pertaining to genes and genetics. So all flesh was corrupt, and the flood happened, which cleansed the earth. And the angels, they actually left and he came back again and did the same thing again. Where it says, and even after that, they came back and did the same thing. And today, their descendants and those who are mixed with them are still here, still creating havoc within the earth. They're known today and reference to as the son of destruction. So that is one aspect of far as Christianity. And when they tell you what Christianity is, and when you really look at it, you see that is an outside force that humans are commingling with other entities that they weren't supposed to commingle with. There's a bishop also that's known as he's a Archbishop of Canterbury. His name is Justin Webley. He had said something, and which is very interesting. I'm going to read it right here. It said, what did Justin Webley, Archbishop of Canterbury, mean when he made this statement about the cross? He said, for early Christians, it was a badge of shame. Webley said, today it is more common, seen as a symbol of beauty to hang around the neck. As a friend of mine used to say, you might as well hang a golden gallows or electric chair around your neck. So pretty much what he's saying, that the cross is not, even though it's symbolized as Christianity today, it wasn't in the past. It was a mark that was put on people who were genetically corrupt. meaning they were mixed with angel. So people who were mixed with angel, sometimes you can't tell. So they were marked. That was the marking that was used. It actually shows up in the DNA also. It's called a cruciform. So when you see these things and you don't read the history of it, you're thinking that it's something good when it's actually not. And also, there's another expression as far as what someone else has said as well. So Pope Francis also said that Mary is the stairway God used to descend and come close to people. Interesting that he said that. When you look at the word Mary, it's translated to miry. So miry clay meaning someone who's mixed. And also miry clay pertains to she who also means she who mixes with angels. And stairway, like Jacob's stairway, when Jacob saw the stairway coming from heaven, that also symbolizes that angels was mingling with the DNA of man. So the DNA represents a ladder, and it's the angels climbing up and down the ladder, which means angels coming to earth and mixing with the daughters of men. That's what that symbolizes. So when you read the Bible in its true form, which the language of the people are the Aramaic people who actually pen these information down for the future, for the people in the future who's going to read it. It was meant to be looked at as not spiritual but biological. So these are things that they saw that came down from heaven to earth, and they were documenting these things. Unfortunately, I guess religion and Christianity change it into something spiritual, which is not spiritual at all. All these things is about genetics. And like I said, that's why the angels were punished. So angels were punished for a reason, because of what they did. They broke protocol and they got punished. So that's where we are. Like I said, so back to Wesley Huff. Like I said, he's defending Christianity when Christianity is foundation, or Christianity itself wouldn't exist unless a God came down and mixed with a woman. That's the whole premise of Christianity. An angel coming down or a God coming down and mixing with a human female. Without that, Christianity wouldn't exist. So the idea of defending human mixing with angel, I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're told, we know a human female body is designed for a human male. That's what it's designed for. It's not designed for any other male, be it angel or alien or whatever you want to think of it. It's not designed for that. A human female is designed for human male. So promoting the mixing of unique species or other species in the human gene pool, to me, it's just ludicrous that you will actually promote such thing. But like I said, the people that's here, I guess that's part of it, part of the outcome of that mixture. I guess they have to defend what they are, right? So that's one way to look at it. But thanks again for hanging out, and I hope this brings some value. See you next time.